We have been sold a comforting lie about rebuilding a nation like Nigeria. We are told the future belongs entirely to the young, that youth energy is the single fuel required for our rebirth. Raw energy operating without a historical map is highly destructive. It acts as a wildfire, burning through institutions and structures without leaving any blueprint for what comes next. When a generation attempts to innovate in a vacuum, isolated from the explicit details of past mistakes, they are condemned to innovate in circles. They end up engineering the exact same errors under modern names. Relying on youth alone creates an unbalanced load. It is a structural flaw that simply cannot support the immense weight of a nation's history. Escaping this endless loop requires abandoning the romantic idea of a single-generation revolution. Rebuilding a country requires a multi-generational architecture of accountability. It requires a system defined as the Trinity of responsibility. Rebuilding demands a deliberate, mathematically precise, and deeply painful engineering process. It functions only when three very specific elements lock together. The first pillar requires the old. We require them solely for their historical data. They must stand in the wreckage of what they built and supply the specific coordinates of their failures. This is the sincere confession. The elder generation must drop their pride and explicitly map out the socio-political landmines they laid during their tenure. The incoming generation is demanding absolute honesty regarding this wreckage, without seeking permission to build on top of it. The second pillar requires the young. To be structurally sound, youth must pivot from raw anger and channel focus into targeted creativity. They must take those honest problems confessed by the old and apply civic intelligence. This is the exact point where kinetic energy meets engineering to form a functioning bridge. Innovation does not mean newness. It means a calculated, functional response to confessed truth, engineered to withstand the gravity of the nation's past. The old provide the accurate map of where the holes are, and the young actively construct the bridge across them. A functional map and a strong bridge still leave a massive structural vulnerability. Once the youth acquire power, we need a mechanism to prevent them from becoming the corrupt establishment they replaced. The third pillar is the unborn. They are the ultimate overriding stakeholders of our national resources. We require the absolute innocence of the unborn to act as the moral anchor. It is the only force pure enough to strip away our immediate egos and keep the motives of the builders clean. This demands a severe timeline shift. Citizens must accept that they are engineering a system strictly for the survival of a generation they will never even meet. Without the unborn acting as that final structural tie-down, any new system will inevitably collapse right back into selfish, zero-sum politics. The confession, the craft, and the innocence. Forcing these three elements together requires the old to entirely crush their pride and the young to entirely crush their impatience. Managing this kind of human architecture takes rigorous practice. Citizens need a controlled environment to simulate cause and effect before applying these stresses to a real society. This is National Cake, a board game blueprint designed to teach this framework. The box explicitly warns, every bite has a consequence. As a practical simulator, its mechanics force players to see how extracting resources today directly drains the collective future. Executing a collaborative three-pillar framework across generations is the absolute most difficult way to rebuild a broken society. When dealing with the weight of a nation, this engineered architecture of accountability is the only foundation that actually lasts. Recraft. Stay on course.